Students, have you ever given up on something because it just took too long? Whether you were waiting in line at the store, you were waiting for a package to come in, or you were just waiting for a video to load. I think so many of us have become impatient because our lives move so quickly now, and we just have this need for speed. That's why we like fast food. That's why we use the microwave. That's why we have high-speed internet. That's why we like Amazon Prime, right? Because we want our packages in 2 days. And I think this need for speed and things to happen quickly and instantly in our life is not necessarily a bad thing, but there are parts of our life where that need and desire can adversely affect us. And I think one of the areas it does is when it comes to forgiveness. Now, we've been talking about forgiveness, and last week we talked about grudges and the things we hold on to. And I think this is an area of our life where the need for things to happen quickly hurts us. Think about this, students. Maybe you've tried forgiveness before, but in the end you felt like it just didn't work. Maybe it was somebody at school or a former friend who said or did something to you, and you've tried to let go, but every time you see them, it all comes rushing back. Maybe it was a family member or your parents or your sibling that did something to you or hurt you in some way, and they just will not let you forget. And you've tried to let go, but everywhere you go and every time you see them or in that place, it all comes rushing back. And you've thought to yourself, man, I tried to forgive, but it's just not working. And students, I think this is a part of our lives where this need for speed and things to happen quickly harms us. But the reality is, students, is that real healing takes time. When it comes to forgiveness, we just want to feel better now. If you have been hurt by somebody, you may be ready to forgive them and say, I just want to be done with this feeling. I don't want to feel this way when I walk into this place or walk into school or when I walk and see that person. And you're just ready to move beyond it, but you can't seem to do it now or quickly. Or if you're the one that's hurt someone, maybe you're ready for them to move on. Man, you've made a mistake, but they just keep bringing it up. They won't let you forget, or they're just giving you the silent treatment and they can't seem to let go. We just want to move on and feel better now, but the reality is, students, is that real healing takes time. So students, I want you to see what Jesus had to say to one of his followers who asked him about forgiveness. And as we look today in Matthew 18, we're going to see Peter, one of Jesus' closest followers, come up to him and ask him how many times he should forgive someone. Here's what it says in Matthew 18. It says, Peter came to him and asked, Lord, how often should I forgive someone who sins against me? And then he goes on to say 7 times. Now, you need to know that the Jewish tradition at the time said that you were supposed to forgive someone 3 times. And so Peter's coming to Jesus saying, should I forgive them 7 times? Listen, I know everything tells us to forgive somebody 3 times, but listen, I'm kind of special and I'm kind of a big deal. Should I forgive them 7 times? That's what I'm willing to do. Is that not good enough? And I want you to see Jesus' response to Peter, who's feeling himself. Here's what he said. He said, no, not 7 times, Jesus replied, but 70 times 7. Now, if you're doing the math, that's 490 times Jesus is telling him to forgive someone. Now, what does this mean for us in our relationships? Does that mean you're supposed to count and when you get up to 490, that's it? No, here's the point. It's when it comes to forgiveness, the number is not the point. The number of times you forgive someone is not the point. It's not 3 strikes, you're out. It's not 7. It's not 490. Jesus is trying to paint a picture of something greater. And this is what he meant. It's that we are called to forgive as many times as it takes. That it's not instant. Not only is that meant to encourage us to continue to forgive, it's also meant to encourage you that it's not always instant. That forgiveness takes time, that healing takes time, and sometimes you've got to come back and forgive again. The reality is, students, is that there is no quick fix. It's that true healing takes time, and we don't always immediately feel better. But here's the truth. It's that every person is different, every hurt is different, but time is always a part of the solution. And so I want to encourage you today, students, maybe you're wrestling with, how do I really let go? Or I'm just constantly reminded of what that person did to me. Here's what I want to challenge you to do, students. The first thing is this: name it. whether that's you writing it down or writing it out or saying it out loud. But I think it's important for you to be honest with yourself. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be something that you share with someone. This is just for you. To be honest with yourself about who you need to forgive and what you need to forgive them of. And so I think there's power behind naming it, behind saying it, behind writing it out so you can see it and look at it and know, this is what I need to forgive and this is who I need to forgive. And here's the second thing I want to challenge you to do, students, and it's not always easy, but it's to pray for that person who hurt you. I know it sounds crazy, and listen, this is something that Jesus said that I still believe is one of the craziest things he ever said. But Jesus told us, he said, the world will tell you to get even. The world will tell you to hold on to the grudge. But here's what he said. He said, but I tell you to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Now, that was so wild, so crazy, so countercultural, but I believe there's a power to what he said that will help you take steps to actually let go of the hurt that that person brought to you and actually to forgive and let go. Students, and the third thing I want to challenge you to do is this. It's to remember your own story. Listen, the reason we're called to forgive other people and to let go of grudges is not because we're just incredibly good or just really strong and able to let go. Ultimately, it's because we are called to be reminded of what God has already done for us. That when we look around us to the people who've hurt us and that we're failing to let go of these things, we're called to be reminded that God has already forgiven us and of so much more. And the reason we are called to be a forgiving people is because we have been forgiven. And I think there's power in reminding yourself of what God has already done for you and how you are called to do the same for others. So students, I pray that you and this ministry and our community be one that forgive each other, that we would let go of grudges. And I don't want to pretend, students, that this is easy. Don't hear me say that. There are people who have hurt you, who have wronged you, that you still feel the effects and the scars. But listen, I know it's through the power of God that he can begin to help loosen those things that you're feeling, the pressure, the hurt, the effects. That's why you're in a group, and that's why I hope that you would lean on your leaders and each other to help each other forgive. Not once, not twice, not 7, not 490 times, but as many times as it takes for you to truly let go.